As we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
A gorgeous 70-degree December Saturday in Los Angeles, California comes to an end under the bright lights of Pauley Pavilion on the UCLA campus as the Bruins welcome an old foe, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, in the 49th meeting in the series. You're watching the Pac-12 on ESPN. It's a whiteout tonight and a packed house at Pauley. Some ghosts from the past are here and some new faces looking to leave their mark on this rivalry. Dave Pasch, Hall of Famer Bill Walton, and it's been a great rivalry Saturday in college basketball, and we end it with one that you're very familiar with going back to the 1970s.
Rivalries, Dave. It is, Dave, right? That's what we live for. That's what gives us the hope and the opportunity and the purpose in our lives. It's what brought me into this game so many years ago. But 48 years ago, three of us, Greg Lee, Jamal Wilkes, and I, we sat in the dorms just 100 yards from here and we watched Notre Dame beat UCLA with Sidney Wicks, the championship team from UCLA, Austin Carwin for 46 points. We looked at each other and we said, that'll never happen again. We almost delivered.
January 19th, 1974, of course, the most notable game in this series when Notre Dame ended UCLA and its 88-game win streak.
Notre Dame was on both ends of the win streak.
Jalen Hands now playing the point with Aaron Holiday in the NBA, and Hands is leading the Pac-12 in assists. He's joined by Chris Wilkes, who came back to school after thinking about going to the NBA. And here's Wilkes getting the rebound, but can't get the putback. And knocked out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Bruins.
UCLA has a significant athletic advantage in this matchup. They're bigger, they've got more players, they're longer, they're faster, they're quicker, they're more explosives, and they got bigger muscles. Mike Bray, one of the great coaches you'll ever find in any field. This guy's got his work cut out for him. He's going to have to control the tempo for the Irish.
Here's Wilkes, who couldn't get it to go. He put on 10 pounds in the offseason. That's one of the things NBA scouts wanted to see. They want him to get stronger, to have to defend wings in the NBA.
That ball could not have been more down in the Motordrome.
Except it wasn't. It came out. So no score. Notre Dame 6-2. They were in Madison Square Garden just 3 days ago playing Oklahoma. Now they're on the West Coast. And Rex Pfluger, an LA native, went to Mater Dei High School. 3-year starter for Notre Dame, gets the first basket.
And what a fantastic dude. Incredible opportunity for Rex. He's got 200 tickets, family members galore here down in Dana Point, one of the magical power spots on earth. Traveling violation. Bruins look ragged. Mike Bray is going to have to keep the Bruins in the half-court game. Steve Alford doing a great job of getting the Bruins up and down, but the weakness of UCLA is their set offense right now. In transition, they can play with anybody in the entire NCAA, and that includes Duke.
And Duke earlier tonight
pummeled Yale, pummeled.
Yeah, as R.J. Barrett had another 30-point game. He's got two 30-point games already this season.
They won the game, please. We're not going to get into this again.
But the point is that he's the third Duke player ever to have multiple 30-point games, and it's not even conference play yet of his first season. That tells you how good R.J. Barrett is.
Their conference is a tougher schedule than their non-conference schedule, please.
John Mooney missed a three, but last touch by UCLA.
You ever been part of a team before? You ever been part of a great team? Nobody cares about who gets the numbers and the stats on a great team. These guys are all super talented. They're fantastic individuals. Coach K is a brilliant leader. They've got it all, but Gonzaga in the WCC is number one.
We were there the other night and watched them knock off Washington. Rui Hachimura as Prentice Hub with a three-pointer, and it's 6-0 Irish.
Okay, and the thing for the Bruins, the crowd is lathered up and ready to go. Everyone's here tonight. Legends from the past, industry titans. Mo Austin is here.
Check off the Mo Austin square on the Walton Bingo.
Beautiful.
Moses Brown, the freshman from New York City. There's Mo in the blue hat. He's a sharp-looking dude for, how old is Mo now?
He just turned 40.
Times 2, add 10. Harvey with a pull-up jumper. And off to a good start, DJ Harvey, who's been battling injury, a knee injury last January. It led to microfracture surgery, but he's come back strong.
The most athletically gifted player on this Notre Dame team. Mike Brey normally has upperclassmen. This is the youngest team in a long time for Mike Brey. Cody Riley, let it fly.
Showing his range, redshirt freshman, of course, missed all of last year. One of 3 players suspended. Their involvement in the shoplifting incident in China.
Would you take some mean pills today? Or
a lot of people haven't seen UCLA this year, so just letting people know who Cody Riley is.
He's an outstanding player from
Absolutely.
Kansas City. Big, rugged, tough. Lost about 25, 30 pounds from last year. It's a completely different looking player. Had a broken jaw. Beautiful.
Prince Ali ties the game at 8. And Riley, look, both Riley and Jalen Hill, who were part of that suspension, they showed tremendous remorse for what happened. They were reinstated by the university, and they get a second chance to be UCLA Bruins.
I believe in addition by subtraction.
Are you saying that with regard to LiAngelo Ball?
Take it however you want it.
Well, that's how I took it. I think everybody else did too. Hub misses, and Brown at 7-1 gets the rebound.
Push the ball if you're UCLA. Look for the lob. Moses Brown, they can't stop him.
Got a foul up top by Prentice Hub.
Great start here. The rivalry renewed. Pauley Pavilion, Notre Dame, the Irish are here.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Citi. Welcome What's Next, and McDonald's.
It's just so great to see terrific friends here reliving fond memories of days gone by.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for game-changing traction inspires where they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Just a fantastic day in Los Angeles today.
You seem surprised. This is California. 40 million people live here for a reason.
It's going to be beautiful in Phoenix tomorrow as well. And how about this basketball game in Phoenix?
Yeah, that'll be good. Tennessee, Rick Barnes has really got his guys playing well. And Gonzaga, they're coming down. And Gonzaga can't try to just hold on to number 1. You got to extend yourself. You got to push it. You got to take it. Hollywood, yes.
That game is at 3 Eastern on ESPN tomorrow.
And where's that being played? In Phoenix?
Phoenix, yes.
At the Talking Stick?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful arena there. Hey, you know who else is here tonight? Garrett Cole. One of my best friends at UCLA. Great star pitcher now with the Astros. Cy Young winner.
Yeah.
Over the top, out of bounds.
That wasn't out of bounds. A catch by Wilkes, but he couldn't finish, batted out to Prince Ali.
No, it was the out of bounds play.
Well, you didn't say that. You made it seem like you were saying the pass was out of bounds.
It started out of bounds.
Here's Wilkes for 3. It's good for Chris Wilkes.
If UCLA will execute like that in their set offense, they will be the best team in the Pac-12.
I don't know. Arizona State looked pretty good last night. They ended up losing to Nevada, but they had a double-digit lead in that game.
Led by 15 and lost by 6. My computer, like mine, tells me that's a 21-point swing late.
9-0 run right now by UCLA. Wilkes hits the deck hard, hops to his feet as he was fouled on the play by Goodwin.
So that's 1-2 passes. Have you ever heard of the pass that leads to the pass that sets up the play? That's called like a team. Now Chris Wilkes, he's come to play. Like, he's from Indiana, and Notre Dame offered him. But he wasn't having no part of that. He's coming to UCLA. He's coming to California. And when these guys, they come out here, they never leave.
He's got 5 points so far.
Would just wonder if any of these Notre Dame guys will defect. We're taking the charter plane home tonight. We'll have to see what the security's like to take and roll.
They get in at about 7:30 in the morning in South Bend, but they have to because finals start on Monday. So they have to get back to campus.
As they do for UCLA. I've always felt it was better to travel during the daytime than the red eyes. Great set defense by the Bruins.
And a shot clock violation. Gibbs had to fire it up. This is the youngest team that Mike Brey has ever had in his 19 seasons at Notre Dame. He's had a ton of success there, back-to-back Elite Eights in 2015 and 2016. He's now the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame with 409 wins.
What a career, what a life. Both his parents, Paul and Betty, educators. He goes to high school and plays for Morgan Wooten, one of the great coaches ever. Then he
by Jalen Hill.
Then he connects with Coach K at Duke. And now he's been there, 19 years, 19th year for Mike Gray? Staggering in college basketball.
His first head coaching job was at Delaware after winning back-to-back titles as an assistant at Duke. Bobby Hurley played for him, now the head coach at Arizona State.
Well,
during those championship years. Here's Leszewski from outside with a three-pointer.
Don't forget to mention that Christian Laettner and Grant Hill are on that team.
But we were talking about Arizona State earlier, so that's why I threw out Bobby Hurley.
Don't say of course.
It all rolls into one, Bill.
Thank you. That I got. Chris Wilkes going to the hoop. No stopping him.
He's fouled on the drive, and so Wilkes will go to the line already 5 points. He's been aggressive. 6 shot attempts for Chris Wilkes early on.
Should shoot more. But when you got this much talent as UCLA, I'd like to see him press. Do anything to get the tempo going up and down all the time.
I'm going to say it was actually on the floor, it looks like. So no shooting foul. Rex Pfluger committed the foul, his first and the third on Notre Dame.
So Chris Wilkes, who is a right-handed player, on his left arm, which is heavily tattooed. I'm not into the tattoo culture, but Chris Wilkes has got Interstate 435, which is the belt loop around Indianapolis where he's from. He's got 317, the area code on the inside of his bicep. Beautiful inbound pass. Yes, Chris Smith.
He missed it. Hill with the offensive rebound, lost the ball.
And then Chris Wilkes also has the skyline of Indianapolis on the inside of his forearm. How many tattoos do you have?
0. If you had one, what would it be?
I'm not getting one.
I know you don't have one because you took your shirt off on SportsCenter the other night. Nice drive by Hands. He couldn't finish it, batted around, and a foul going to be called here on UCLA. The Bruins are missing several shots right at the rim.
I'm going to take issue with you calling that a nice shot.
What do you mean?
That's a running left-handed layup from about 8 feet away from down by his hip. When you're driving to the hoop like that, how about thinking about passing it back off to somebody who's just stepped into the vacated area that you just created?
Well, he's made that shot this year, and he's also been great at passing. He's already got...
He's a tremendous player.
He's had 30 assists the last 3 games.
He's the leading Pac-12 assist guy in total assists and in assists per game. But come on, you got to pass the ball when you're driving to the hoop.
Smith lost the ball. Great hustle by Wilkes. Knocked it out of bounds, but terrific effort trying to keep that possession going.
Steve Alford, who's also from Indiana, he was Mr. Indiana high school basketball. He turned down Notre Dame as well. When Steve was dominating back there in his home state, the big schools to go to were Notre Dame, Purdue, Indiana, where he ultimately went, and then Louisville, at that time coached by Denny Crum.
Yeah, you told us earlier today that he was very familiar with the UCLA-Notre Dame rivalry growing up, but he was always going to go play for Coach Knight at Indiana. Leszewski missed up fires and rebounded by Wilkes.
That's double dribble.
Here's Hands. Oh, he should have passed that one. Batted away by Pfluger. Good hands.
Jalen Hands has so much athletic talent that he can go by anybody.
Gets it rejected that time by Jawan Durham.
What a nice player, Jawan Durham, who hasn't played much in the last couple of years.
And a technical foul on Jawan Durham.
Why?
Said something, either taunted the player, said something to the official.
He blocked the shot. That's all you need to do. You don't need to say anything. Just do it.
When we come back, it's another edition of Walton's World as we relive ancient history. '49th meeting between Notre Dame and UCLA. Let's take you back in this week's edition of Walton's World to one of the all-time great matchups back in '74.
Ouch.
Notre Dame 71, UCLA 70 with 6 seconds left. Into Walton. He can't score. Turnovich, Myers, Shoemate. It's all over. Number 1 ranked UCLA Bruins have been upset by the Irish of Notre Dame. 71-70, the longest winning streak in collegiate sports history has ended. Unbelievable.
That was Dick Enberg on the call. Number 2 Notre Dame beating Bill Walton and number 1 UCLA.
And that day we broke Coach Wooden's most oft-repeated admonition to us, which was just do your best. Your best is good enough. That's all I ask for. But whatever it is you do, don't beat yourself, don't cheat yourself, don't shortchange yourself. We had a 17-point halftime lead. We had an 11-point lead in the ball with 3 minutes to go in an era that predated the shot clock and the 3-point shot. We missed our last 6 shots. I missed a lot of them. We turned the ball over 4 times. I did that.
Also great coaching by Notre Dame.
They made their last 6 shots. Greg Lee, the key to our team, did not play in the second half a single second. I spent the previous 11 days to that game, January 19th, 1974. Not that I remember. I spent it in the UCLA hospital with a broken back. Oh my goodness. The earth spun backwards that day. The earth revolved around the moon. And it was just absolutely a nightmare and has remained that way for the rest of my life.
Bill, as I mentioned,
I am a disgrace.
It was great coaching that night, too, by Notre Dame. And the head coach joins us via phone. Digger Phelps is on the line. Digger,
no,
to Bill.
You're kidding. Hello? Oh, who is this? Who is this? I thought you were dead. John Wooden never called timeout. He felt timeouts. Who is this? Are you with O'Flanagan? Are you with O'Flanagan, O'Shanahan, and O'Flannery and O'Malley, the referees from that game? Are you in some tax evasive island in the Caribbean buying the referees drinks? Please. Who is this? This is not Digger. Oh my gosh. Undefeated lifetime with Booker.
Digger.
This can't be Digger.
Hold on. All right, so now that we have Digger, let's at least ask him a question. Digger, what do you remember most about that day when you guys ended the 88-game winning streak, which was the all-time winningest in college basketball history at that point?
Still is on the men's side.
On the men's side, it still is.
That's what we played.
Hold on. Let him answer. Go ahead, Digger.
I love flashbacks. I look over to the coach and I say, hey, coach, how about a timeout? Or at least how about Greg Lee, please? And he looked at me and said, no. And then Dwight Clay. They had good players. Dwight Clay, Gary Brokaw, John Shoemate, Adrian Dantley. But they were also saddled by Digger. And, oh, my gosh. That was...
Now, Digger, most people...
Digger, why are you trying to ruin my life still?
Here's Gibbs on the drive. Kisses in and off the window.
And it was nearly 5 years without a loss, and it was just so tough. It completely changed my life. And imagine my shock to find out over the course of the last 44 years since that game happened that there's actually nice people that I've met from Notre Dame. I did talk to Rich. Well, Rich Branning, as fine a human being as you'll ever find out there. What happened to you on that front, Digger? Well, the amazing thing is that of all Notre Dame's non-conference opponents, they have more victories over UCLA than any other school. They have 20 victories against UCLA.
By the way, a week later after Notre Dame beat UCLA, UCLA beat Notre Dame. Most people don't know that.
Well, we had a good team. We had Jamal Wilkes and Greg Lee and John Wooden, and nobody else did. Oh, my gosh. So, Digger, tell me, you are still alive? What are you doing? What? Oh, my gosh. I love my shirt. What's wrong with my shirt? says Jimmy V and ESPN on it.
Don't tempt him to take it off, Digger. We've already done that this year. Digger, what do you think it'll take? Do you think it's possible for, I know these teams are playing next year in South Bend. Do you think it's possible for Notre Dame and UCLA to get something where they can play every year like they used to?
It was a fantastic rivalry. It was a fantastic rivalry, and in 4 years with John Wooden, he only mentioned the other team twice. We lost both games. Thanks a lot, Coach. But one of those games was the Austin Carr 46-point game. Did you coach that game as well, or was that still Johnny D? Johnny D. Yeah. How many of the 88 games in a row, how many of those were against Notre Dame? Probably 5. I'm going to say, no, 4. Yeah. 4, and then we lost, and then we beat you again.
Game is tied at 20.
It was incredible. I mean, phenomenal rivalry, and the way you breathe life. I mean, from someone who represents death, it's pretty amazing how you were able to get your guys to come in. You had a lot of really good players. I mean, you had Bill Laimbeer, you had Bill Hanslick, you had Kelly Tripucka. Yeah, Orlando Woolridge, my gosh, what a player. What are you doing these days? Are you like a vampire that comes out?
I would too if I were you. I'd savor that forever.
Oh my gosh. Digger.
Well, hey, Digger, it's been great having you. Appreciate
Speak for
the time.
yourself. Speak for yourself.
All the best to you, buddy.
Thanks for ruining my life. Thanks for ruining my life, man.
Hey, at least you didn't call him the devil, as you normally do. Nice move inside by Jules Bernard. UCLA by 2, 22-20 with 6.5 to go.
Oh, wait till he hangs up. Is he gone?
He's gone.
Digger is the devil. Oh, my gosh. I thought he was dead.
Prentice Huff, way off the mark. Out of bounds to UCLA.
The fact that Notre Dame is right here in this game with this incredible UCLA roster that they have, well, that's the power and strength of a guy from the dead, Digger Phelps. Oh my gosh. Digger, yeah, change any of those first letters and it's still appropriate. Powell Library.
Spectacular day in Los Angeles. Beautiful evening as UCLA leads Notre Dame 22-20. The Bruins are out rebounding Notre Dame 21-10. They have not shot the ball well, but neither is Notre Dame. Both teams are under 40% from the floor. And the leading scorers in this game, Cody Riley and Chris Wilkes with 5 points apiece for UCLA. John Mooney and Rex Pfluger with 5 points each for the Irish.
And as you look at that spectacular picture of UCLA, more than 130,000 people applied to go to school here this year at UCLA. Always #1 in most applicants of any school around the country. Just a phenomenal place, and it's never looked better. And all the donors who have rebuilt this university and the expansion. Moses Brown, just too strong, too good. Wow.
Coaches would love him just to throw that down, just go back up and dunk it. He'll go to the line for 2.
He's not physically strong enough yet. What's your name again? Dave, right?
It was Jawan Durham who committed the foul, his first.
But this guy, he goes to Archbishop Malloy High School back in New York City. I mean, and the legends who have come out of that program, from Kenny Smith to Kenny Anderson to Kevin Joyce, a lot of Kevins at this school. Brian Winters, Robert Werdan, Kerry Keating, Hall of Fame coach Lou Carnesecca, Jim Larinaga doing a terrific job down at Miami right there. The governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, went there. It's very, very special place. Vitas Gerulaitis, David Caruso, Vincent Piazza, Roy Romano.
Almost a steal by Hands.
10-second violation.
Good defense. So that's the first turnover by Notre Dame. They're excellent at protecting the basketball, and they had not turned it over until that pressure by Jalen Hands and the Bruins in the backcourt.
Notre Dame is playing good basketball for what the team that they have right now. They're not picked to finish really high in the ACC conference, which has 15 teams in it. Duke always at the top of that conference. North Carolina right there with them.
Virginia, of course. Virginia Tech is really good.
That is a great basketball conference. Wow.
And Notre Dame picked 9th preseason. They're 6-2. They lost at home to Radford. And remember, Radford was an NCAA tournament team last year. They've got a lot of veterans on that squad. They also lost to Oklahoma on a neutral court.
Oklahoma made a ton of threes. Lon Kruger, that's a Hall of Fame coach right there.
UCLA is 6-2. Their losses against Michigan State by 20 and North Carolina by 16. Both those games are in Vegas. Gibbs way off, rebounded by Bernard.
Push the ball if you're the Bruins here.
Hands, good pass underneath, but the dunk is missed. But Brown is there, can't stick it back. Riley's tip no good. And again, the Bruins missing a ton of shots right at the rim. And a foul is called on Ali, the 14th foul on UCLA, and Prince Ali's first.
Never mistake activity for achievement. The effort is good, but the skill level has to come alive. Finish dunks, you get an offensive rebound, you don't have a good spot, it's okay to bring it back out and reset. But as Moses Brown, who was raised as an only child by his dad, Malcolm did a fantastic job. I've yet to meet him, but boy, you talk to this young man, he's got it together.
Here's Carmody, way off on the three.
Just missed. Watch your face. There's Prince Ali's game right there.
In and out, though. Knocked out of bounds by Notre Dame. Moses Brown did well not to commit an over-the-back foul, and it was last touched by the Irish.
Quit encouraging the refs to call more fouls.
I didn't. I said he did a good job to avoid it. That was the point.
Look, you could call a foul on any play. There's that weak side duck in, get him the ball down low. That was bread and butter. Bread and butter for UCLA for years. Sidney Wicks, the greatest college forward I ever saw. Tremendous hands, Jalen Hands.
And then a foul on TJ Gibbs. His
Good
first
foul.
in the 16 foul, or fourth, 16 foul, excuse me, on Notre Dame. It was great having Digger Phelps on. Boy,
Speak for yourself.
I thought doing a three-man booth with you and Vitale was a challenge, having you and Digger on at the same time.
Well, if he's still alive, which I'm questioning, when UCLA goes back and plays there next year, that should be the game. Because the game's here. Does anybody really expect Notre Dame to win here again?
Why not?
Well, they've won 20 times here, which is shocking to me. That was the most shocking turn of events that I've had in these last 24 hours.
Great defense by Durham with the swat.
Look at Durham move on the transition.
Yeah, he gets back down there trying to get the offensive rebound. Durham a transfer from Connecticut. Here's Hands in transition, goes up high. Another missed dunk. Brown finally gets it to go. They've missed 3 dunks today.
Moses Brown, who was measured when he got here in June at 7'1". He's at least 7'2", if not 7'3". That's a big dude. And he can really run the floor. He doesn't have the leg strength and the power that will come with time.
Hub with a step back 3. Notre Dame continues to struggle shooting the ball from outside. 3 of 13 from behind the arc.
But the way he moves, just so much potential. And there are so many NBA scouts here tonight, you can't even count him. That's an offensive foul.
And that is the second on Prince Ali. UCLA by 4.
Jim Ian is here tonight, currently with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he's been with every team. Transition basketball here. Jalen Hands tries to get it to go, hits the back of the rim. Fortunately, Moses Brown delivers.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by eBay. If it's happening this season, it's happening on eBay.
Second chance points for UCLA. Here are some of the other great rivalry games today. How about Syracuse beating Georgetown?
Indiana's playing well. Syracuse, that's always a great rivalry. Want to see how Patrick Ewing's doing as the coach now. Xavier continues to struggle. Cincinnati, they're back on top. What a great weekend. What a great concept to have all the rivalry games on the same day. And what's the rivalry between Kansas and New Mexico State? I don't get the, I don't get the natural rivalry there.
But how about that?
Beautiful pass.
New Mexico State taking Kansas to the wire. as a blocking foul is called here. 7-team foul in Notre Dame, so this will be a 1-and-1 for UCLA as DJ Harvey picks up his first personal.
Did you see the Rio Grande rift the other day between New Mexico State and New Mexico in the hallway before the game? Goodness gracious. Where's Maurice Lucas when you need him?
Cody Riley at the free throw line shooting just above 50%, but he got the first one. He's from Kansas City.
Like Lucius Allen was. Lucius Allen, as great an athlete who has ever come out of this state of Kansas. That guy was phenomenal. You know who's here tonight as well? Lucius might be here. He hasn't come by the table, but Marcus Johnson, the UCLA legend, Kenny Booker, 3-year champion.
Yeah, Marcus Johnson from White Men Can't Jump.
No, Marcus Johnson from UCLA, and Marcus Johnson could elevate. Coach Wooden was on him when he was in the 8th grade.
6-point Bruin lead inside 3 minutes to go. Spins out for John Mooney.
Mooney's the big man. He's the anchor for Mike Bray. Hasn't had much of an impact on this game, but you know they're certainly not going to be intimidated by this crowd. They play at Duke, they play at North Carolina, at Virginia.
Well, he does have 5 rebounds. I know he's 2 of 7 from the floor, but he does have 5 boards. Good cut by Riley, and excellent defense by Notre Dame.
This is a game that's had a lot of rebounds.
Terrible pass by Pfluger, a turnover by Notre Dame, and now the Bruins looking to run. Smith leaves it for Wilkes, another corner 3. Off the mark, out of bounds to Notre Dame. Well, Monday night, 2 games battling for playoff position as you look at Marcus Johnson. It's the Seahawks and the Vikings on Monday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern Time on ESPN, the ESPN app, also ESPN Deportes. Monday Night Countdown at 6, kickoff at 8:15. And the Vikings and Seahawks right now looking at wild card spots. Depending on what happens with the Bears, the Rams have already clinched the NFC West.
I had the privilege of playing with Marcus a number of times, and it was fantastic. Here at UCLA, in the NBA as well. What a player. What a human being. Sorry I couldn't deliver for you, Marcus.
Wilkes hits that 3. And Wilkes with his second triple.
Mike Bray forced to call a timeout here.
It's a 9-point Bruin lead.
And the Bruins shots are starting to fall, and nothing is going down for the Irish. Chris Wilkes, that's in your face, the state of Indiana.
UFC fans, this is the moment you truly all been waiting for.
UFC coming to ESPN Plus in January. Might be able to get a few pointers from watching those promos for working with you. UCLA on a 9-0 run right now over Notre Dame.
Can I get Digger in the cage? Somebody pump some fresh blood into him, see if he can resurrect him. Some great hands, Jalen hands.
In the lane, Gibbs can't get it to drop. Notre Dame without a point now in about 5.5 minutes.
But their shooting numbers on the season are horrific. So many of them shooting under 30%. And tonight it's just more of the same. You've got to have the great players. And you know, it wasn't that long ago that this program was right there on the edge of the Final Four.
Chris Smith gets the bounce, and the Bruins have an 11-point lead, their largest of the game, inside a minute to go in the half.
Only one Final Four in Notre Dame's history, 1978. 12 players on the team, 10 of them drafted, 8 of them NBA careers.
DJ Harvey way off on the 3, and now 6.5 minutes without a point for Notre Dame.
Coach Alford will take timeout right now. How about the close of shoot around this morning? And that was truly a shoot around when they had the half court deal.
Yeah.
And they always have a contest between the UCLA staff, led by Coach Alford, and the players. And who can make the half court shot? Steve Alford, after it went into overtime, he wins it for the coaches, and they were ecstatic. Nobody can make it early on. Then Wes Long, the strength and conditioning coach, he made one. And then Joe Wallace, the walk-on who doesn't even suit up for the games, he comes out and ties it to send it to the first overtime. And then Corey Alford comes from the sideline and makes one. Little Corey with his red hair. I'm so proud and so privileged. And then Joe Wallace comes back and he makes it again and sends it to overtime. And then Steve Alford, there's Corey. What a fine young man, and oh man, what a basketball mind. And his ability there to deliver the message to the players and the close relationship that he has with all the guys. They all love him here.
He was a player here. His brother Bryce obviously was a player here for his dad as well. About a 5-second difference between the game and shot clocks here at the end of the first half.
We also didn't mention that the legend Andy Hill, 3-time champion, is here tonight.
Here's Hands with the timer at 5. Gets a screen, fires a 3.
Whoa.
Not close, rebounded Mooney. The Irish have time, 5 seconds to go. Hub attacks the rim, and what a play by Riley getting the swat. The half comes to an end with Notre Dame going scoreless the final 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
Tough way to win. But what a crowd, what a night, what an atmosphere. Gordon Henderson leading the band, UCLA 100+ members strong. This is the place to be. Nobody's leaving here.
John Brickley, Dallin Cuff, halftime.
It's Fee Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
Notre Dame and UCLA played every year from 1966 to 1996. They've only played a handful of times since. The Bruins lead Notre Dame by 11 in the 49th all-time meeting between the Irish and UCLA. Not the most aesthetically pleasing first half.
You just said UCLA was not the most aesthetically beautiful
for both
campus
teams.
ever?
No.
That
this
campus
game,
shot?
This game. The first half. UCLA shot 32%. Notre Dame shot 23%. But the one bright spot offensively, even though he didn't shoot great, was Chris Wilkes, leading scorer with 8 points. He also had 6 rebounds. And he's going to be their go-to guy this year, Bill.
Why are you so unhappy? UCLA is winning. They're at home. The fans are ecstatic. Chris Wilkes is playing beautifully. Jamal Wilkes, the Hall of Famer, is in attendance here tonight. I saw him at halftime.
They're not related, though.
No, and they spell their names differently.
Yeah. Notre Dame was scoreless the final 7 minutes and 40 seconds of that half. It was excellent defense by UCLA and also
nice on the move. Beautiful. That's basketball. That's the drive, the hand back to the space that you've created. Jalen Hands, absolutely spectacular.
3-point opportunity for Wilkes.
When you look at Chris Wilkes, you mentioned early on about the NBA thinking that he needs more strength. He's just a young guy. He's a sophomore in college. The NBA, that is full of men who are fighting for money and power and everything, and that's a whole different world. Hey, I saw a new NBA player that I've fallen in love with.
Who's that?
Dante Exum. Whoa.
For Utah.
You ever heard of him?
Of course, yes.
Wow, I just saw him last night.
Yeah,
that guy is really fun to watch.
He's from Australia. He's had some injuries and he's had trouble putting together a full season, but he's very talented. Notre Dame had its lowest scoring half of the season. The previous was 26 in a loss against Radford. And they're on 8.5 minutes now without a point.
But how are they going to create the shots when every position UCLA has a physical advantage? This is where it comes to skill. This is where TJ Gibbs has got to get it going with some creativity.
Here's Pfluger, and finally, after almost 9 minutes, Notre Dame's on the board.
So Pfluger, you mentioned Santa Ana in modern day and Gary McKnight, the legendary program.
Clay is here, by the way, Gary's son, who
is another great player.
One of the all-time leading free throw percentage. He played at Pacific.
Right, well, modern day is an overwhelmingly powerful program. But Rex, he started at Junipero Serra High School in Dana Point, where he's from, and then when he had the opportunity to go up to Santa Ana, right in the heart of Santa Ana, where modern day is.
And he led them to their first undefeated season back in 2014. They went 35-0. He's a 3-year starter at Notre Dame, and when he was being recruited by Mike Bray, he promised Rex that he would play a game out here before he graduated.
And this is that game. And nice to see that Rex is on the all-ACC academic team. Throw it down one time. Mooney, yes. Mooney, the 6'9" junior from Orlando.
3-point opportunity for John Mooney. Last game against Oklahoma had 15 points, 14 rebounds.
This is the beautiful way to break the press. Flash a guy up high, turn, make your play right away, and then it's decision-making time. Did you ever run the 3-on-2 conditioning?
I did.
Basketball?
Yeah.
The greatest drill in the history of all sports. John Wooden invented it. It involves all 12 guys, and it is the grand celebration of life. Oh, man. That's the kind of opportunities you get to practice. Send it back. Harvey.
That's DJ Harvey at 6'6", blocking a guy that's 7'1". But then Notre Dame turned it over.
He's landed out of bounds there. But Moses, when he, to get to the promised land for Moses, he's going to have to learn either to shoot that with the left hand, little jump hook, or just come right back. You can never really turn into somebody and shoot over him unless you're Shaq.
Good to see Sharif here tonight for the Bruins. Shaq's son, who's going to miss the season with a heart ailment as that 3 goes for Ali. There's Sharif.
Sharif's having his surgery next Thursday, the 13th. Everybody say a prayer. He's going to be in the hospital 5 to 7 days. They're going right through his sternum. The big one is going to be in a very, very tough situation for him. But Mom and Dad will be up there with him.
Oh, Prince Ali couldn't put it in. Between the leg pass. Jalen Hands went between the legs, then threw an alley-oop. There's another lob, and Moses Brown finishes this one.
And the route is on. Mike Bray needs to settle the team down. But this is UCLA at their best, where they're just scrambling, stealing the ball. Pfluger finding the range, and there Mike Bray will take the timeout.
And he's screaming at TJ Gibbs, and he might be getting sent to the bench.
Well, the turnovers, carelessness. Okay, when was the last time you tried that?
Never. How about you?
Have you ever done that in the TSA security line? Try it.
Cancer is universal.
Life-changing. Cancer is why I will never give up.
Cancer is something that's going to make me stronger.
It doesn't define me.
I believe that they can come up with a cure. I think we're just this close.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research.
What a tremendous organization, and thanks to the V Foundation for all they do for all of us, including my friend Dave. The longest running friend I had who didn't make it. I met Dave when I was 9 years old in 1962, and he just left us. Thank you, Dave, for your life.
Saw Mike Bray there. He is heavily involved in cancer research. Has been a part of Coaches versus Cancer, been on their national council, which has raised over $3 million for cancer research. And
Pfluger has really come alive here. Threes, stealing the ball. Harvey, can he make it happen? Yes.
It's an 8-point game, despite Notre Dame shooting 23% from the floor.
This is staggering that it's 8 points. Because Notre Dame has not really played much more than a couple of minutes of action here.
Riley almost turned it over. Here's Hands from the corner. He's 0 for 7, no points in the game. He does have 8 assists, but he hasn't scored. It was last touched by UCLA, says Tony Padilla.
Jalen Hands, who played his high school ball in San Diego. He grew up in Eastlake, which is a brand new part of the city, up against Otay Mountain and Otay Lakes. He had to travel about 30 to 40 minutes every day to high school to play for Brad Leaf, TJ Leaf's dad. Oh my gosh.
They just showed the replay on the Jumbotron, and I think Tony got it wrong. He actually acted like he acknowledged that he got it wrong, and you move on. You have no comment. You were very harsh on the refs the other night. I can't believe I silenced you. Here's Mooney from outside, and it's a 6-point game here at Pauley.
I was watching the Jumbotron. Please, I'm watching the basketball game here, please. I look ahead in life. You miss a shot, let it go. Move on.
Moses Brown underneath, and it's a good foul by DJ Harvey because he's only a 40% free throw shooter. Don't let him have the dunk. Make a hard foul and send him to the line.
How many fouls on Harvey?
2.
Okay. We got a game here. Shocking.
Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for game-changing traction inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Beautiful shot of Los Angeles. 70 degrees today. They were on the UCLA campus at Pauley Pavilion. Notre Dame 7-0 run to make it a 6-point game. How about this game tomorrow? #1 Gonzaga, surviving a scare Wednesday against Washington, will take on Tennessee in the Air Force Reserve Jerry Colangelo Classic at Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix on ESPN at 3.
Hopefully Gonzaga will shoot better than they did against a good defensive squad, the Washington Huskies. But as many missed layups as really good players had in that Gonzaga game. The second half turnaround, though, for Mike Bray's Irish.
You think about it, Bill. They went almost 9 minutes without a point, yet they're only down 6 because they've caught fire here in the second half as Brown misses both free throws, so that was a really good foul by Harvey.
UCLA got careless offensively, and they pulled it back, and that has given life to the Fighting Irish. Maybe they can also give life to, what was that guy's name again?
Digger.
The Digger?
Yeah, the former Notre Dame coach, who ended UCLA's 88-game win streak back in
January
1974.
19th, 1974, not that I remember, and another bucket. And wow, this crowd is just stunned at the turn of events. And UCLA is passing the ball backwards against the pressure of the Fighting Irish. What has happened here?
9-0 run by Notre Dame over the last 2 minutes. Deep position for Cody Riley, did an excellent job to create some space down low.
Okay, so that play right there, that's the duck-in by the power forward. That's what made Sidney Wicks the greatest power forward, the greatest forward in the history of college basketball that I ever saw.
Taking it strong, and Brown is Harvey, and he'll go to the line.
This duck-in here, you got a big, strong guy down low, bring it up high, a post feeder who can get the ball quickly. You got that power step and easy layup. Now, why don't they run that 6 straight times and just punish the opposition?
DJ Harvey at the line shooting 2.
This guy Harvey, he's got a game.
Went to DeMatha, where Mike Bray played when he was in high school. Bill, as you look at UCLA and the talent that's here, they're 6-2 on the year. They had the blowout losses to Michigan State and North Carolina. Can they compete?
Yes.
For a championship in the Pac-12?
In the Pac-12, certainly.
Okay.
Pac-12 is not playing well right now. Arizona State and USC both lost last night. Tough losses.
Well, one was a blowout. TCU absolutely blew out USC. Arizona State had a lead on an excellent Nevada team.
TCU's a good team. The Big 12 has got good basketball teams. But the Pac-12 right now not playing championship level basketball. And I have not seen Oregon yet. But the problems that they're having with the athletic department up there, that has got to be a concern for everyone.
Hands, and he's finally on the scoreboard. He does have 8 assists, make that 9 assists, but that's his first field goal.
A most interesting lineup change here for Steve Alford, going small, taking Moses Brown out. Chris Wilkes, Jalen Hill up front. Very versatile guys, and Jalen Hill, a tough fighter for that ball, what you dream about on your team.
And Chris Smith as well. In the front court, Durham comes up short.
Jalen Hill, who grew up out in Corona in the Inland Empire, where the 15 meets the 91. A huge LeBron James fan. Jalen Hands is not pulling it back. He's not waiting for anybody.
5 straight points for Jalen Hands, and just like that, it's back to a 9-point game.
What are you going to do? Wait. They're trying to commit a foul.
I think Chris Wilkes hurt himself. Yeah, he hurt himself, and so
where is he?
Committed a foul there.
That's Jalen Hands just pulling up and letting it fly. What's the number of shot attempts tonight for Jalen Hands?
9. He's 2 for 9 as you look at Wilkes on the bench shaken up.
And that's Shane.
You have a score sheet right in front of you. You don't have to ask me.
I'm watching the game.
Pfluger. Nice job underneath as Goodwin gets it to go. Freshman from Upper Arlington, Ohio, was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio last year.
So if you're UCLA, why are you trying any gimmicks defensively? Just guard your man. You've got a physical superiority at every position.
Ali for 3, short. And Leshevsky with a long rebound.
I really enjoyed watching Leshevsky play tonight. Long range, he got a nice touch, nice feel for the game, and a beautiful sense of position timing combined with his skill.
His dad was a solid D1 basketball player at Wisconsin, Jay Leshevsky, back in the 80s. Ball batted around out of bounds to UCLA.
This is the best I've ever seen Nate Laszewski play.
This is the first time, isn't it?
Both of those statements are true.
Played 9 minutes. He's got 3 points, 2 rebounds from Jupiter, Florida. Sister Abby is on the Wisconsin basketball team right now.
Did I see Wisconsin lost today again?
Rivalry game against Marquette that was played in Milwaukee.
Marquette any good?
Speaking of, I'm glad you brought Wisconsin up. You were unable to do that game in Madison with us as Jalen Hands gets the basket. Everybody talks about Ethan Happ having maybe the best footwork for a big that they've seen in a long time. I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch him play over the course of his college career, but your thoughts on Ethan Happ?
I saw Ethan a couple years ago at the Maui gym, and he was super fun. Now, Wisconsin had a better team at that point, so it's not so much how good you are, it's how good your teammates are. That was John Wooden's recruiting pitch to me. He said, you come to play at UCLA, and you're going to play with Greg Lee and Jamal Wilkes. And was I ever the luckiest guy in the world. Tough pass there by Jules Bernard.
Another failed alley-oop. We're told Chris Wilkes is dealing with cramps, and that's the issue right now for Wilkes, who had to leave about a minute and a half ago.
V8 juice, baby.
On the drive, TJ Gibbs. They need more of that from him. Penetration, Gibbs, over the last 5 games, averaging 17 points per game, but just 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting tonight.
So when Jules Bernard gets that ball at the wing position and nobody's guarding him, how about attacking the basket? Can't pass to yourself.
Well, it got blocked. I think he was trying to throw an alley-oop. It's a turnover, though, by UCLA. And here come the Irish. Goodwin gives it up.
Beautiful pass.
Hub not close on the 3. Rebound Hill. Numbers, Hands to the rim.
Wow.
That's 7 now for Hands to go with 9 assists. Make that 9 for Hands. 9 points, 9 assists on the night. Goodwin no on the 3. Ali with the clear.
Were you ever the fastest player in the game?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Here's Gibbs on the drive. Contact.
And great defense. Great defense. Mike Bray can't believe it, but that's a good call.
Yeah, just a turnover. No foul. They say the Hub went straight up.
Let it go, please.
That was John Higgins making that call there. I agree with you. It was a good decision by Higgins not to blow the whistle there and call a foul.
In transition, Jalen Hands, he's come to just run away from the field.
Tuesday at 9 Eastern, we'll premiere our next ESPN 30 for 30 film titled 42-1. Those were the odds against Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson in their 1990 heavyweight championship fight in Tokyo. You can also see it on the ESPN app. Incredible.
That was
story.
a heck of a time. We were going, Lori and I were going to all those fights. And when Buster knocked out the champ, we just couldn't believe it. But the guy who's knocked out right now is Chris Wilkes, who was magnificent as he usually is in the first half. But now he's cramped and has to commit a foul to get to the sideline and ultimately to the locker room. And Alex Timeros, the great sports information director here, he tells us that they're working on those cramps and trying to get the fluids and the proper nutrition into Chris.
Yeah, he's still in the locker room. Meanwhile, Jalen Hands has stepped up since Wilkes left. He is 4 for 4 from the field in the last 4 minutes after an 0 for 8 start.
Look at Jalen Hill fight for that ball.
And it's Notre Dame ball down 7 despite a 9-minute streak where the Irish didn't score for most of the for the beginning of the second half and the final 7 minutes and 40 seconds of the first. And now a UCLA foul, the 4th team foul on the Bruins here in the half. It's on Chris Smith.
It wasn't that long ago. Your name is Dave, right? Okay, that Notre Dame was atop the ACC. In their second year in the league in 2015, they just, they get to the Elite Eight. They beat Northwestern. They beat Butler on the day that Mike Bray's mom, Betty, died. Then they beat Wichita State when they were on top. And then they take on Kentucky in that Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. They were up 8 with just a couple minutes to go, and then Kentucky went on a 10-0 run and just dashed the dreams of the Fighting Irish.
That was an incredible game, by the way. They're going to call a foul here on Prince Ali on the inbound.
I watched that game. That was in the days when when Kentucky was just must-watch television. But Notre Dame, Jaron Grant now with Orlando, Pat Connaughton now with Milwaukee, Zach August playing in Turkey. Zach August was so fun to watch.
So is Jaron Grant. Missing a layup is Gibbs, but Hub keeps it alive. The big possession for Notre Dame. Down 7 at the midway point of the first half.
Mooney's got to deliver. Be that back to the basket pivot man. Set up a guy. Give it back to him, Rex. Please. Beautiful pass. Throw it down.
And Mooney puts it in.
And a foul.
Jalen Hill commits the foul. Mooney will go to the line, an 82% free throw shooter.
What a fun little sequence there. Feed in the post. Try to create. It's not happening. Give it back. Give it to him. Not sure why Jalen Hill would give up on Mooney right there.
How about the fight shown by Notre Dame? We talked about this in the first half. This is the youngest team by far that Mike Bray has had. They're off to a 6-2 start, losing to Radford, which was a tournament team last year, and Oklahoma in New York City the other day. They've got guys who are coming off injuries, transfers, and their most veteran player, Rex Pfluger, he's their only senior. He's a 7-point-per-game guy. As Singleton, a freshman from Los Angeles, gets a big three, his 7th of the year.
David Singleton, the third, trained, coached by his dad growing up on Jeff Feinberg's remarkable California AAU team here, teaming with Cody Riley. Win 110-6 over a 3-year period. That's a lot of games. The AAU level.
Hub gets to the rim. Nicely done there by Prentice Hub.
But David Singleton is a beautiful player here. He went to school at Bishop Montgomery down in Torrance, but he's just not going to get a lot of time because Jalen Hands and Chris Wilkes are going to be out there literally the entire game. But a beautiful shooter.
They had Singleton shoot the free throws on the technical in the first half when Juwan Durham for Notre Dame got teed up.
Well, Coach Alford always raves about David Singleton's shooting prowess. We don't get to see him play enough.
Smith, no good on the three. UCLA is shooting the ball pretty well from the perimeter, around 43% from three. Hub drives, double clutches, no. Great rebound by Hub. Out of bounds off of Smith.
Chris Smith and Jalen Hill are just playing tremendous in there. And they're going to both go to the bench as Coach Alford is going to come back with his starting front court of Moses and Cody Riley.
Do you think teams, I know Notre Dame's not in that situation right now, Bill, only 2 team fouls, but do you think if they're in a game and a team is in the bonus and there's 8 or 9 minutes left, the teams will foul Moses Brown when he's in the game just to put him at the line because he's only a 40% free throw shooter, as Harvey's three makes it a 3-point game?
How many attempts has Moses had this year? 10?
No, he's had more than that.
Okay. He doesn't get a lot of opportunities.
That's what I'm saying, though.
He's just getting started. Well, they'll try that, but Moses Brown is a nice player and a very smart guy. He's going to figure out those free throws, and the more he shoots them, more likely he is going to make them. He's not going to be a 40% shooter his whole life.
Notre Dame with a chance maybe to tie on this possession.
Are you old enough to remember Karl Malone? Karl Malone became one of the great free throw shooters ever. Beautiful stroke. And now this is Notre Dame basketball, and this Bruin crowd is stunned. This game was over 5 minutes ago, and now Steve Alford forced to call a timeout. Digger Phelps, he may be alive.
He is. We talked to him about a half an hour ago. I guarantee you he's alive. How about
sounded dead.
Singleton getting the three, but then on the other end, DJ Harvey leading a 7-0 run by Notre Dame. We've got a 1-point game at Pauley.
This is the Rich Branning story all over again.
49th all-time meeting. Notre Dame has beaten UCLA 20 times.
Wow.
They met twice a year from 1971 to 83. Of course, they snapped your 88-game win streak back in 74.
It was
you guys,
ours.
Yeah, but you were there. And then a week later, you had 32 points as you guys beat Notre Dame. And earlier today, a member of the Irish in the 70s, part of their Final Four team in 78, Rich Branning addressed the Irish team.
One of the great human beings ever. Now, Rich grew up in Southern California here, Huntington Beach. He was a huge high school star at Marina, scoring 27.5 points per game. And then he was a great rival of Bill Duffy, who has now become the super agent to all the NBA stars. And Rich Branning, he spoke today to all the guys and talked to them about relationships and seizing the moment and being at your best in these critical moments in your life and career. Rich went on to a hugely successful commercial real estate deal, starting with Roger Staubach, the incredible Roger Staubach, and now he's up in Silicon Valley just knocking it dead. And he flew down today to help support his Fighting Irish team. He was 4-0 lifetime against UCLA in this building.
In other news, Notre Dame with a chance to take the lead as Chris Wilkes has returned to the bench for UCLA. It's a 7-0 Irish run. Mooney for three, no good. And Jalen Hands with a rebound.
You just see the confidence that Notre Dame is playing with now, and a great coach like Mike Gray is going to breathe that. And the Bruins don't have Chris Wilkes right now, and that's really hurting them. Stepped out of bounds.
No, it was a foul. He got bumped. He got bumped along the baseline by Singleton. That's his first, and the 17th foul by UCLA. So Notre Dame is in the bonus.
Look, this is a bump, okay? That is not a bump. He's backing up. That is not a bump. That's a bump, okay? You want to get bumps? Come down the lane when I'm underneath the hoop. What's your name again?
Not Jason.
Don't come down the lane here.
And Hub gets the free throw. They're saying that I should push you back.
Fine. I'm all for it. Just give it a try.
The thing is, if you fell down, you went down that slide in Spokane. I was seriously worried for your health, though, because when you went down the slide, Spike, the Gonzaga mascot, if you would have both been on the ground, there's no one to help either of you get up.
Look, Spike was a great athlete. That guy was quick as could be. Every time I tried to punch him in the nose there, he just fought me off. And I'm just kind of waiting and seeing if you're ever going to.
All right, Chris Wilkes is back in the game.
What's your name?
He's got 11 points and 7 rebounds. So he's been UCLA's best player this season. Notre Dame, with its first lead since it was 8-5, they've led for a total of 2.5 minutes in this game.
Mike Gray's game plan here. Make UCLA play half court. Control the boards. What's the rebound situation? Whoa, that's a tough shot there.
And rebounded.
To come off the bench and have that on your first touch?
That was a three. I mean, he's been shooting.
Right, but he was on his way to the UCLA hospital.
No, he wasn't.
You know, I love the way you minimize these guys' injuries.
Well, I wasn't. He wasn't going to the hospital. He just had to get the cramps figured out, and he's back on the floor. Shot clock at 8. It did not hit the rim. Here's Pfluger.
Nice passing.
Gibbs for three.
Beautiful.
The lead is 4 for Notre Dame. What a huge win. If the Irish somehow can close this out, I know we got a lot of time left, but Bill, they went 9 minutes without a point in this game.
A shocking turn of events. Call up the dead guy again and see what he has to say. Or did they suck all the blood back out of the vampire?
A foul on a three-point attempt by DJ Harvey is third, so 3 free throws for Prince Ali.
Rex Pfluger has come alive here. It was a tough start for Rex, and it's sad because a lot of times when you come back home and you got so many tickets, 200 that he had, you got too many things going on in your mind.
Yeah.
And you can't overthink that.
But Pfluger's 3 of 3 from 3, 11 points. He's had a terrific game, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, so he's contributing in a lot of different ways as Ali, who's not a good free throw shooter, misses the first of 3.
In the ultimate of ironies, because our children, when they were growing up, in fits of anger at their dad, who they hated, they said, "Dad, we're going to go to Notre Dame. We're going to show you."
Luke said that to you?
They all said that because they said I was the worst dad ever because all I ever did was say no to them. There's Russell Pfluger right there. Pride of a dad, nothing like it.
So if Luke or any of your boys that play college basketball wanted to go to Notre Dame, would you have let them?
It wasn't my choice. It was their choice. Look, in the ultimate of ironies, I became the Notre Dame broadcaster for 10 years. I spoke at their athletic banquet. I went into their locker room and gave them a pep talk before the game. Oh my gosh, what was I doing?
Harvey drives and gets it to go despite good defense by Jalen Hill. DJ Harvey has been terrific here in the second half.
This crowd is just stunned. Everyone's sitting on their hands, and the Bruins forced to play their weakest part of the game, which is set up offense.
Well, how about this zone for Notre Dame? Why is it causing so many issues right now for UCLA?
Because they're not attacking at the free throw line.
Wow, that drops for hands. It was a brick, but it went in.
What a touch.
Maybe that'll turn the tide here for the Bruins, back within 2.
Chris Wilkes is still limping over there. This is fluid and one of the most graceful athletes ever, and he's just struggling.
What a play by Ali with the save. Hands goes behind the back, pulls the trigger, can't hit. Long rebound, Wilkes. Moses Brown can't put it in. We'll try again. Miss again. And
Mooney
fouled by Mooney.
Strength, patience, persistence, discipline. Prayers being answered back from the dead. And here's the guy that can create his own shot, Harvey. Coming back from incredibly difficult injuries with that microfracture surgery. Beautiful shot.
Gibbs can't get it, and the Bruins can tie or retake the lead, but how about Harvey takes it away from hands?
Bruins are not moving to the ball. They're waiting for the game of life to come to them.
How about Pfluger's 4 of 4 from three-point land in his homecoming?
This is the Rich Branning story. This is what he told them would happen.
It's the Rex Pfluger story right now.
Right, well, Rich Branning set it up at practice this morning. They had no idea who he was. We knew. We've grown up with the guy. What a legend.
Pfluger with 14 points.
Whoa.
Brown, big rebound, got to put that one in. And they're going to say a foul on the floor on Notre Dame. That's only the 14th foul, second on Pfluger.
Rex Pfluger, Mike Brey dictating the terms of this conflict here. Who would have ever thought that Notre Dame Fighting Irish totally out of it, but Harvey has just been spectacular. His quickness, the ball movement, let it fly from 3. Dad, yeah, there is nothing like the pride of a dad.
Well, Notre Dame, after an awful first half offensively, has caught fire in the second half, outscoring the Bruins by 16 this half, and they lead 62-57.
An incredible turn of events on every front. The Fighting Irish have completely outplayed UCLA in every aspect. Jumpers, ball movement, defense, stealing the ball, decision making. And as we look at the Word of Life mural on the Notre Dame campus, parents celebrating wildly. 3-point Jesus, they are spreading the flowers and the rose petals on campus in South Bend, where John Wooden coached high school basketball, South Bend Central, for 9 full seasons.
Go look at the monitor, 59% shooting in the second half, plus 6 on the glass. And by Notre Dame going to this zone, that's eliminated a lot of second chance opportunities for UCLA. As Wilkes misses a 3. They only have 2 second chance points this half. UCLA had 10 in the first half, and Notre Dame was playing mostly man defense.
Chris Wilkes is not feeling well physically, yet he's still letting him fly from 3-point land. Penetration and dish, throw it down, Harvey.
Good defense by UCLA, and now a breakaway. Prince Ali ahead of the pack for the slam.
Wow. That long rebound, everybody in for Notre Dame. Poor floor balance. Somebody has to rotate up, and the crowd trying to find their way back into it at Pauley Pavilion. The Purcell Center probably filled tonight on the campus of Notre Dame. Kick ball, UCLA.
The dribble handoff fails. Bruin ball.
Mike Brey, a history teacher by passion and early profession, when he went back as the assistant coach to Morgan Wooten. Did you ever meet Morgan?
I have not met Morgan.
Wow.
Timeout by Notre Dame. That'll leave the Irish with 1. UCLA has 2. It's Bruin ball, down 3.
But right now it's Mike Brey who's writing history here and dictating the terms of the conflict. Make them play your game. They have done a masterful job, the Fighting Irish.
Got a great college basketball game for you tomorrow at 3 Eastern time. 1 o'clock in Phoenix, where this game is being played. The Air Force Reserve Jerry Colangelo Classic, home of the Suns, Talking Stick Resort Arena. Number 1 Gonzaga, number 7 Tennessee on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Gonzaga is terrific, and Rick Barnes has got it going. Rick Barnes, a Hall of Fame coach. shocking that he's not already in there. One of the winningest coaches ever. Wherever he goes, his team wins. Wherever he leaves, they never win again. Rui Hachimura, yeah, Grant Williams, head-to-head. Let's go. Let's play ball. Let's put it up and find out who's really got a game.
Hachimura had the game-winning shot against Washington Wednesday. Ali is fouled again on a three-point shot. That's the second time that's happened here in the last couple minutes. Prentice Hub commits the foul. Now, Ali isn't a great free throw shooter. He, on the season, is 7 for 17, but obviously you never want to foul anybody.
But how frustrating this
outside
is.
the three-point line.
How frustrating for Coach Alford. You know, he's from Indiana. He knows all about Notre Dame. They used to have these incredible rivalries, Notre Dame, Indy, and he's played in all these games. And his guys looked so good for parts of this game, but they haven't been able to sustain. And when I'm thinking about what's going on here, I think about all those legends who played in the shadow of touchdown or three-point Jesus there. I mean, Joe Theismann, Joe Montana, Jerome Bettis, Paul Hornung, the Four Horsemen, Newt Rockne, Ara Parseghian, Tim Brown. Did you ever see Tim Brown play football?
Yeah, of course.
What do you mean, of course?
I mean, of won a Heisman Trophy like 30 years ago and then played in the NFL for 15 years. Well, of course I saw. Ali with a big free throw, 2 more coming.
Of course. Maybe the most obnoxious phrase ever. Please. Tim Brown, that guy can play.
Let's talk basketball for the next 2:17. I'll make a deal with you. Ali with.
I'm talking Notre Dame because they're winning.
Got a chance. Well, not for long maybe because Ali's got 1 more free throw and he just made 2 in a row. This is big. He's been struggling as we mentioned, but he knocks down all 3 and we are tied at 62.
Now nobody's winning and it's up for grabs. What was your name again?
Layout.
Please. If you're going to step out, you got to make them turn back and go the other direction. You can't just let them keep going.
Wow, Gibbs going one-on-one, took a bad shot. And here comes UCLA, a chance to regain the advantage in the final 2 minutes.
When you penetrate into the trees, you got to think about laying it back off. We just saw John Stockton the other night. You're going to see Steve Nash tomorrow when you go back to Phoenix.
I am. Here's Hands, a deep 3.
Whoa.
Way off.
Great
rebound.
Tip. Jalen Hill.
Riley can't put it in, and then Hill is fouled. That's the 16th foul. Let's see if they say it was in the act of shooting or on the rebound.
So the shirts that all the fans are wearing in this whiteout at Pauley Pavilion with the sold-out crowd tonight.
By the way, ball out of bounds.
Proclaiming we are the mighty Bruins.
So it is.
They have not looked so mighty tonight.
No.
And they're calling that ball just out of bounds,
yes.
right?
No. It was a foul, but it was on the rebound, not on the shot. That's why it's.
So what's the bonus situation here?
Well, the next foul, they'll be in the bonus. UCLA, you can look there on your screen there. See, it's a 7 fouls, lower right-hand corner for UCLA. Notre Dame with 6 fouls. All right.
Whose ball is it?
It's UCLA ball.
Okay.
What do you want to see here offensively from the Bruins?
I want to see some quick hitting action where not just one guy is involved. I want to see Chris Wilkes move if he's capable of moving. I want to see Jalen Hands penetrate to dish. I want to see maybe the duck in for Cody Riley that was so successful that they did one time and never came back to it.
Is that because Notre Dame's playing zone? It's harder to do that against the zone?
No. You just have to have somebody who can play the high post, who can be that passer. And Coach Alford has not been pleased with the production of a lot of his front court players. But here's Cody Riley.
Can't get the layup. It was a good move. He just couldn't finish.
Luger.
And here comes Notre Dame in a tie game nearing a minute to go.
The undersized Irish have come in here and given the Bruins everything that they can handle. History on the line right here. One of the few times these two great schools have played without being ranked.
Harvey was wide open. The 3 won't go. These teams will meet again in South Bend next year.
We can only hope for overtime tonight.
Wilkes, who was battling cramps earlier.
He's not moving well.
Wilkes with a shot clock at 10 gives it up for Hands. 3 ball, no good. Long rebound, Pfluger.
Pfluger's everywhere. The intangibles, that's what he does.
Mike Gray has a timeout. Let's see if he uses it. There's about a 3-second difference between the clocks.
Just play and get one shot at the end. You play to win it at the buzzer or get to overtime.
But again, there's a 3 or 4 second difference between the game and shot clocks.
In college basketball, that's not enough.
Hub driving, spinning, rejected by Hill. Ollie's got it with 4. Wilkes with 2 for 3. Good! With a 1/10 of a second left. Battling cramps. He's injured on the floor. He's excited, exhausted, and injured.
He's got a cramp in the back of his leg, and they got to get somebody out there to give him some fluids, the right ones, to get that cramp to go away.
They're going to look, first of all, to see how much time's on the clock. Also, was it a 2 or a 3? Notre Dame does have a timeout, but in college basketball, you can't advance the ball, so they'll have to inbound it from backcourt. It's definitely a 3. Let's see how much time on the clock when it goes through the net. About 5.6, which still it's going to have to be throw it down the length of the floor, quick catch and shoot for Notre Dame to even have a chance.
I think he's cramping as he's in the air there, and he can't even put anything on that leg. Wow.
He's got to be helped to the UCLA bench right now.
It was Skip Meyer, the trainer for 40 years for the Fighting Irish, who had to come over there and help him.
Wow. Okay. Talk about mixed emotions, man. You hit the shot of your life, and you can't even get yourself off the floor because of the cramps.
You ever had a cramp before?
Yeah.
How'd you get it?
Let's talk about what we need to see here. 9/10.
Well, how do you get rid of a cramp?
Don't worry about my cramp. 9/10 of a second left. So, can you dribble, or is it just catch and shoot?
9/10 of a second. Throw it at the basket. Throw it at the basket. I don't think you can throw. I like to play where they throw it like in the Bryce Drew play, where they threw it to one guy who kicked it to the next. I don't think you have enough time for that.
We saw Kentucky hit a half-court shot today against Seton Hall to force overtime. Seton Hall eventually won. So will we have another half-court shot?
Seton Hall beat Kentucky today?
Yes, it was on SportsCenter.
Okay, if you're UCLA, you might want to just foul here. I mean,
That's an option.
If you're Notre Dame, you want to foul.
Well, no. If you're UCLA, you want to foul. You're
correct.
Yes. Put Notre Dame at the line rather than risk a 3.
I'm having a brain cramp. Beautiful stroke on one leg, and he has to dive to the ground. Jalen Hands should leave him alone.
Well, I think he was celebrating with it and then forgetting that
he was
injured. Yes.
Reminiscent of the dog pile they had on Joe Wallace at the morning shoot-around today, when Joe made those back-to-back half-court shots. What a night of basketball. Rivalries, we love it.
Just another great chapter in one of the all-time great rivalries in college basketball. Of course, the heyday was back in the 70s. They've only met a handful of times over the last 25 years, but I'm glad they've got this going again. They'll play at Notre Dame next year.
Mike Bray has never lost head-to-head to Steve Alford. Only played one time when Steve was the coach at New Mexico.
Let's see what Mike Bray draws up here with 9/10 of a second left, needing a 3 to force overtime. And Chris Wilkes on the bench, and if Notre Dame hits a miraculous shot and we do go to overtime, you wonder if Chris Wilkes will even be available.
Coach Alford
UCLA just called a timeout there.
Coach Alford should not put Chris Wilkes back in the game right here.
Well, he's not. He's on the bench.
He's on the bench. Well, they're all on the bench, or they're in the.
But those are the 5 guys that are going to go in the game here defensively.
So you have to pressure the inbound pass if you're UCLA.
Do you, or do you just sag off and play for the pass?
Pressure the ball and make your man receive the ball coming away from the basket. That's all you have to do. Just make him catch it. Whatever you do, don't foul a 3-point shooter. So the creativity. I mean, if they got Joe Montana on that Notre Dame bench over there, put him in. He'll find a way.
You know, it wasn't just the Chris Wilkes three-pointer, Bill. It was the defense on the other end. Notre Dame had a chance to take the lead.
They had good looks.
Watch this block shot here by Jalen Hill.
Okay, so how about passing that ball? You drive in, you got all these 6'9" guys, and Chris Wilkes just lets it go. The crowd just going crazy.
Good to see Pauley Pavilion rocking like this.
Looking forward to that being the case every game, regardless of the opponent.
But it tells you that this rivalry still means something to people here in Los Angeles. To fill Pauley, it's not always like that here, but they filled it tonight. Notre Dame with 9/10 of a second left.
Pressure on the ball. Pfluger on the run.
Gets it to Gibbs, lets it fly.
Oh, straight.
UCLA wins.
What a night.
Chris Wilkes battling cramps in the second half. Had to go to the locker room. Comes back out, hits the game-winning shot with 9/10 of a second left. UCLA improves to 7-2. Notre Dame falls to 6-3.
California, UCLA, Moses, the promised land. Notre Dame flies home tonight. Oh, they'll remember this one for the rest of their lives, as will Chris Wilkes. The fans here are treated to a thriller. College basketball at its best, rivalries, hope, opportunity, purpose, what we live for.
Coming up next, College Basketball Live presented by Zip Recruited. For Hall of Famer Bill Walton, I'm Dave Pasch. So long from Pauley, Chris Wilkes the hero.